Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the brand the Don Deeva. These are releasing on the 14th. So in the description box below I will link the Don Deeva site, I will link their Instagram page, and then I'll link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from today's video. So we do have a total, I think, of 13 polishes, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have Pourn Star's number 5 Goldie Showas, and this is described as a soaked in gold to green unicorn pea and having a gold fleck. So here's our first coat of Pourn Star's number 5 Goldie Showas, and I'm going to show you what it looks like built up in 3 coats on its own. Afterwards I'm going to show you 1 coat over black. Honestly, my favorite way to wear this would probably be just 1 coat on its own, just a nice wash of something sparkly. And I don't know, I've been kind of into the visible nail line look lately, so I think that's actually really pretty. This one is super shifty. You'll be able to see it more so in my photos and my macros. Beautiful, beautiful color on the nail. I do also really like this one layered over a darker color. I think it would be gorgeous layered over like a darker purple or a darker blue as well. The little gold flecks that are in here do stand out really nicely. I'd recommend top coat because it dries dull, but removal is easy. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have Mukbangin At Tiffs, and this one is a sister polish to Mukbang at Tiffany's. This is described as a sweet pink base, holding all shapes and sizes of Tiffany blue glitters, as well as original unicorn pea pigment. Here's our first cut of Mukbangin At Tiffs. This one's a little bit on the sheer side, but the formula is smooth and easy to work with. This delicate pink base is absolutely gorgeous. This one is going to dry down dull and textured, so I'd recommend a thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat or a couple coats of top coat to finish this off, and removal will be difficult. I did do 3 coats for full opacity today. Depending on your application and your preferences, you might like just 2, but there is 3 coats. Up next we have Toxic Cotton Candy, and this one is described as a clear base with mixes of various glitters in pink, white, and blue, as well as original unicorn pea pigment. Here's our first coat of Toxic Cotton Candy. Again, I'm going to show you what 3 coats of this looks like built up on its own, and then I'm going to show you 1 coat over black. I do really like this one on its own, but I think my preferred way of wearing it is over the darker color. I think it shows off the shifty shimmer really, really nicely over a darker base. If you wanted more of these glitters, you could sponge it on. However, you will lose some of that unicorn pea pigment if you decide to go that route. This is going to dry with some pretty intense texture. It is a glitter, and because of that glitter, it's also going to be difficult to remove. Again, I would recommend a thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat to finish this one off. Otherwise, you might need a couple coats of top coat, but there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have Misty Malfucktion, and this one is described as a delicate blue when indoors, and then when it's outdoors it's a gorgeous purple to raspberry shade, and it also includes the original unicorn pea pigment. Here's our first coat of Misty Malfucktion. I really struggle to say that name, but this is pretty sheer on this first coat. It is a smooth formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side. It's not difficult to work with per se, but I will say it doesn't have any self-leveling properties to it, so you do have to kind of be careful to work in as even coats as possible. I did do 3 coats to build this one up to opacity today. I am going to show you what it looks like with my artificial sunlight, a curing gel lamp. We'll show you what that looks like outside. This does dry matte and removal is easy, so there's 3 coats. Up next we have Little Ho Peep, and this one is described as a cheeky purple polish with a purple base, purple flecks, and a whole flock's worth of original red to green unicorn pea pigment. Here's our first coat of Little Ho Peep. This one is pretty sheer on this first coat. It is a nice buildable base color though, so I am going to do 3 coats today for full opacity. If you have super visible nail line, some of these that I get full opacity on in 3 coats might not meet that requirement for you. You might end up having to go in for 4. The shimmer that's in here is stunning. This is going to dry on the dull side, so I'd recommend top coat, but removal is easy. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Vagina Girl version 2, and this one is described as a neon pink base featuring 2 different kinds of unicorn pea sister pigments. This one also has copper and bright bronze flakes. Here's our first coat of Vagina Girl V2. This one is actually pretty pigmented here on this first coat. I'm going to do 2 today for full coverage. This one does dry to a completely matte finish. If you don't love that look, I would recommend going in with top coat. It is going to dry slightly textured, but removal on this one will be easy. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Little Miss Huffet, and this one is described as a delicate buildable lavender base polish with gold and copper flakes. Here's our first coat of Little Miss Huffet. So this is another prime example of polishes that I love sheer. I think this looks really stunning at 2 coats, just enough to kind of get a little bit of that staining out of my nails, but nice and dainty. I did do 3 coats. I wasn't able to achieve full opacity here. You could use this one as a topper. Removal will be easy and it will dry dull, so there's 3 coats. Up next we have Golightly, and this one is described as a buildable mint base with flakes in pink, blue, green, copper, and gold. Here's our first coat of Golightly. This one is a nice sheer base again. The flakes that are in here don't stand out as nicely when it's this sheer as it did in the last polish that we looked at. This one is more so going to stand out, these flakes will, when it's built up some. So I'm going to do 3 coats today. Again, I was able to still make out just a tiny bit of nail line. If that bothers you, you might want 4 coats or use this as a topper. This one's also going to dry dull and removal is easy. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Georgie P'Orgy, and this one is described as a brilliant amethyst purple when cold and a piercing bright turquoise and warm. This one is a thermal and it does have this blue flash to it. Here's our first coat of Georgie P'Orgy. This one is stunning. I usually don't love thermals, but I love this color combination. I love the color that this is when it's warm. I wish I was warm more often so I could be able to see that more often, but this is such a beautiful color combination. I got opacity in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you might want 3, and per the usual of thermals, this does dry totally dull, so you will want top coat and removal's easy. But look at this blue! Up next we have Past the Effin Poupon, and this one is described as a neon yellow with a ton of red micro glitters floating throughout, as well as this gorgeous shiftiness. Here's our first coat of Past the Effin Poupon, which I'm not even really sure what that means. And by really sure, I mean I have no idea what the heck a Poupon is. I probably should have looked it up. This is super pigmented. A ton of these red glitters come out. Very smooth formula to work with. You will want top coat. It is going to dry dull and textured, and removal will be difficult. I did do 3 coats just for safe measure, but it was fully opaque in just 2. But there's 3 coats. Up next we have Luke, I'm Your Sister, and this one is described as having magenta and blue shifts, as well as blue hex glitters. Here's our first coat of Luke, I'm Your Sister. I am going to show you what 3 coats looks like today, but I'm also going to build this one up just 1 coat over a black just to show you what that looks like. I feel like the shifty shimmer kind of gets lost in all this glitter, and then it becomes more apparent when it's layered over a darker base, so that's why I did it that way. Formula is good though, not too thick or too thin. I would recommend a nice helping of glossy top coat to finish this off. It is going to dry extremely textured. A nice thicker glitter eating glossy top coat will go a long way with this polish, and removal is intense. This is a process to remove this one. So here it is over that black, and I do think this is my preferred way of wearing this polish in particular. So there is 1 and 3 coats. Next up we have Tiffany Milk, and this is just described as a milky Tiffany blue base to neutralize orange and red staining. Here's our first coat of Tiffany Milk. So this is just meant to be a wash of color on the nail. I'm going to show you what 3 coats looks like today. In my swatch photo, I'm going to show you 1, 2, and 3 coats. You can use this one as a base coat if you like, or you can build this one up to a nice squishy jelly finish. This is going to dry on the dullish side, so I would recommend top coat, and obviously since there is nothing in here, it is very easy to remove. So there is 3 coats. And lastly for today we have Chocolate Milk, and this is a lovely neutral shade base coat, perfect for any skin tone. And here's our first coat of Chocolate Milk. This one has the same kind of feeling to it as Tiffany Milk does. It is meant to be just a wash of color on the nail. I will say this one is more opaque than Tiffany Milk was. So again, I'm going to show you 1, 2, and 3 coats in my swatch photo. You can use this as a neutralizing base coat, or you can build this one up to opacity. I did get full opacity in 3 coats. I'd still recommend top coat, and obviously removal's simple. So there's 3 coats. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.